Hi everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of the Ungrownups video transmission. I'm your host Mark, and today we're going to be looking at the third figure released in the Mezco Mega Scale Thundercats Classics Panthro. Now, Panthro was actually the very first Mega Scale Thundercats Classics figure that I bought. My wife and I were on vacation, and we went into a Toys R Us. I'm always dragging her into toy stores and comic book stores when we go out of town. And we went into a Toys R Us and I saw this guy on the shelf. I could not believe they had him because I had seen Lion-O and I'd seen Mumra, and I honestly thought that those were the only two figures that had been released. I thought that they got those two out the door and that was it, that no other figures had been released. I hadn't seen them. And so I was really happy to find Panthro, and I scooped him up immediately. Fell in love with him instantly and was like, I've got to go get Lion-O and Mumra. So you've already seen my Lion-O review. I'm actually going to be picking up Mumra soon, so I'll get him reviewed. But this guy is huge. He is a little shorter than Lion-O, and I do have Lion-O right here to sort of show you. I think he's only edged out by Lion-O's awesome hair. I think that, eye to eye, top of the head to top of the head, they're about the same height. But maybe Lion-O's just a smidge taller. But he fits in nicely, and you can see he's adequately buff. I mean, he's much larger than Lion-O. And as you can tell, of course, by him and the size of my hand, this is a massive figure. They're coming in around 14, 15 inches tall, so they kind of tower over any 12-inch figures you may have on your shelf. Now, Panthro is sort of standing in a very weird pose. And that's okay with me, because once you sort of get him in the best pose possible, he looks absolutely perfect. But he does have, I believe, a little more articulation than Lion-O. So we saw that Lion-O had 8 points of articulation, and Panthro, his head's on a ball joint, so you get full range of motion there, down, up. His torso is also on a ball joint, which you can get some motion. Quite noisy, but you can still get some motion there. Both shoulders are on a ball joint. And then he's articulated at the wrist here. So no articulation under the belt or at the top of the thigh, but you do get an extra point of articulation on Panthro here at the top of the boot and at the ankle, whereas Lion-O did not have the ankle swivel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 2 more points of articulation than Lion-O. So that's really cool. So, of course, like Lion-O, we'll zoom in and we'll take closer looks at all the paint apps and everything here in a second. But do want to run down some of the accessories that he comes with. And I promise you, we're going to get this guy in a pose that's not going to be awkward. I promise you. Panthro does come with another hand. So this is the hand for holding both nunchucks together. And this is his sort of his posing hand. This is the hand that he pretty much stays in, that stays on my shelf. And then, of course, you can't have Panthro without his nunchucks. And these things are amazing. They are big. They are tough. They've got the Thundercat hand, or whatever. They got the claw hands on each end. And they do have a metal chain. So that's very nice. And you can see that they are quite long enough. He can pose with one in each hand. And we're going to look at that in just a second. But why don't we zoom in, take a closer look at some of the paint apps, and also take a look at some of those accessories a little closer. Okay, taking a closer look at Panthro's accessories. Since the hands come off, I do want to look at those separately as accessories. I'm just going to show you some of the awesome sculpted detail in these hands. I like it that they don't make too much of a nub here, that it makes it very easy to swap the hand in and out without a lot of stress on the figure. Really appreciate that. Very well sculpted hands. Love the little claws on the tips. Very nice, very sharp. Just a lot of really well sculpted detail in there. Of course, at this scale, that should be easy to accomplish, but I don't want to slight Art Asylum. They've done a fantastic job with these figures. Love this hand. This is my favorite additional hand. I like tucking the nunchucks underneath the arm so that this hand's out free, sort of gesturing, letting everybody know you come close to this hand, you're gonna get ripped. Love the detail in his hand. This is one of my favorite accessories with these figures. Just look at this. Fantastic work. Really nice. And again, love the little claw tips. Very nice. But everybody wants to see these nunchucks. And of course, they are awesome. They are fantastic. So the nunchucks themselves are actually plastic, as you can hear. Probably even hollow. But the chain itself is actually metal and can get twisted and tangled. Very, very nice detail. I like that a lot. Unfortunately, you can see where, because of the grip of the hand is so tight, there's a fair amount of paint that wears off onto these nunchuck handles, and you can see the nice little detail of the claws. Really nice detail here. So let's take a closer look at Panthro. Okay, taking a closer look at Panthro here. Just wanted to zoom in a little bit and show you. Very nice paint work. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Very nice paint work on the belt. Very clean Thundercats logo. Zooming down, I'd love to show you these feet, because these feet are nice. I love how they actually go in and do the toe indentation, and you can see they actually give him a claw or a pointy toenail. Same way on both feet. Very, very nice. Very ninja-esque. I really, really, really like that. Like the ties at the ankle and at the calf. Going in here, show you these hands. Very nice detail work on the hands. The sculpting is very exquisite. Very nice detail work on the hands. You can see the nice claws at the top. Nice detail. Clean work on the spikes. A little sloppy paint app here and there, but you know, at this scale you would expect for that not to be the case. And then that gnarly mug. Just look at those ears and those eyebrows and those eyes. So incredibly cool. Panthro is a very intimidating figure. Just love this guy. Look at that face. Very, very nice. And just because I haven't shown the backside before, show you some of the nice muscle work here on the back. Very well detailed. Really, really cool guns right there. Check those out. Very nice. Going down the figure. Just looks fantastic. These are just some of the most well sculpted figures. I mean, I would not want them to do the whole line, but I'd love to see what a He-Man figure would look like in this scale. Okay, so as you can see with the holding hand, you know, for the grip in the nunchuck, in this hand, you can definitely get him holding both sides of the nunchuck. Looks pretty tough. This is a really cool pose. Not my favorite, but it's a really good one. And I love the extra long length on the chain to give him the ability, since his arms don't come that close together. This is a really, really cool pose. If I did have a downside of this figure, is that the hands are molded so tightly that you do have to force the nunchuck into the hand. And that's a little disappointing, only because you can actually see some blue paint from his hand rubbing off on the red side. Not so much on the blue side, because it's blue and blue. You can see it a little bit, but it does kind of feel like you're going to break the nunchuck trying to force it into his hand. But really, really, really nice. So let's see if we can get it out of his hand. It comes out a lot easier than it goes in. And let's see if we can swap this hand out real quick. I really love this posing hand, this gesturing hand, sort of gripping outright. So, of course, you know, you could leave it hanging loose like he's about ready to jack somebody up. But, of course, we all know what we want to do. And that's what we want to tuck one underneath his arm. And I think on my shelf, I think I have him holding the red one and then tucking the blue one. But let's see if you can see this. Because of the nature of the strap, the way the big strap comes around, and the bottom part of his arm, you can see there's a little gap in here, and that's just made perfectly for holding that nunchuck. And so you can stick it in and have it grip it very, very nicely. I like to have him kind of hunched over, looking at you. Quite mean. Man, that guy is tough. Now, that's how Panthro stays on my shelf. And he is quite nice. I'm actually really looking forward to getting Chitara and Tigra and really seeing how this team looks all put together, although I'm going to have to find a crazy amount of space for them. Probably at the very top of my shelf. I don't know if you guys can see it there. I just have a bunch of Hot Toys boxes. I think maybe when I get all the figures that I may just have to clean off that entire top shelf of that cabinet and let them all live up there. That'll probably be an adequate amount of space for the Thundercats. So yeah, man, this guy is crazy tough, and one of my most favorite pieces in my collection. And you know, we didn't talk about this in the Lion-O video, but these guys are only $39.99. I mean, $40 for a well sculpted, well painted, well positioned, or I can't say articulated because they're not really articulated all that well, but just well thought out posed. Basically staction figures. They're kind of static, but I think they have enough articulation to be considered an action figure. But $40, come on, that is a crazy good value. I paid, 4 times that amount for Hot Toys figures. So I am very happy to have this guy in my collection. So as always, we're going to ask if you guys dug the video to please like, comment, or subscribe, and be sure to join in the conversation over at facebook.com/ungrownups. And please check out our podcast, which is really cool. It's a really awesome podcast, and we record it every 2 weeks. So you can get that right off of ungrownups.com, or you can check it out at iTunes. Just search for Ungrownups Podcast. So until next time, peace.